Holdren, who, of course, calls for sterilants in the water. I mean, they didn't expunge everything. On the university site, we found more. But they've since memory holed a lot of it and are now acting like she never said it. Now I'm seeing articles where they're saying that she never even said that. We're now making it up. So no end to this. Well, they went in. This has only happened a few other times in the history of my YouTube channel, the official Alex Jones channel with 193 million views. They went in and they put a community strike and said, YouTube has reviewed it. We may even shut down your entire site now. But for now, this video is erased. And in the video, I simply showed a graphic of her in a straitjacket as a joke, saying that we're crazy. She's a public figure. I happen to know the law. I've even called my lawyer yesterday. I am looking, because I've had enough. I'm not litigious, but I've had enough with her saying we're racist also in her paper. So she's saying we're racist because we don't want to cut the power off to Africa. Okay, we're racist. And these other professors say we should be arrested. Lord Monckton needs to be arrested. All of this. I go in there and joke about her and, you know, show a photo of her where she does. The point is I had a little fun. And they said that's a thought crime. I cannot now make fun of public figures. So when I sue them, when I sue Google and the rest of them, it's going to be for discrimination and violations of terms of service, unfair trade practices, also false advertising. Because I go and give them, I mean, they make a ton of money off the ads there that they place on my videos, even though I don't take ads on there. Because that gives them control. They still place them on there. They make a ton of money out of 600 million views. I've done the math. That's conservatively just in the click program, if I would have shared it with them, and actually $500,000 the last 3 years. And that's my 30% I would have gotten. I just didn't take the ads because I didn't want to be part of a business arrangement with them. Okay? So they still place ads. So 70% more of that. We're talking over $1 million. I give them this value. I'm #1 in Austin, #1 in Orlando. I can keep listing the cities on the radio. I have a #1 radio show, okay, wherever I'm at. I give them #1 content, follow their terms of service, and they defraud me and go along with somebody saying I'm a racist and I'm a hater because I make fun of these people. Nothing about race in the joke. And now they're looking at shutting one of our whole channels down, and then in the past, when they've done that, they've shut down the other channels till I go and file against them and defeat it. The point is that I don't relish suing this behemoth. And I know they don't care. They've got government backing. But the point is we've got to stand for the First Amendment or no one is going to have free speech as this iron curtain of tyranny descends. Now, Lord Monckton will be with us 30 minutes in the next hour, joining us on video Skype. But I hadn't talked about this yet today, and I wanted to discuss it now. What's going on with this Professor Carrie Nogard. And I have just, had enough of this assistant professor of sociology and environmental studies, because it's not just her saying we're mentally ill or racist. It's all of them. And we have a big article on this at Infowars.com. The threat of green fascism is the title, where they say arrest us, where they say shut us down, ban our speech, White House regulations are. Cass Sunstein says fine us, fee us, censor us, arrest us. This is pure authoritarianism. Okay? And now they've shut the video down and are saying that you cannot criticize a public figure. This is outrageous. She can call us racist. She can say we're mentally ill. And oh, well, she says so. She says so, so it's so. And then we can't do this. And now the university is saying she never said that, even though it's in her paper that she says we need to be treated, and that's a standard thing with them, that we're criminals or we're mentally ill. And I know Lord Monckton can chronicle their examples of this. He has been beat up. He has been thrown out by the UN. You try to talk to Al Gore, you get roughed up at UN events. These are dangerous people. The UN is in Uganda and also in Central America on record killing people. This is in the New York Times, to get their land for carbon sinks. We have Agenda 21 outside Austin. I'm going to get to it at the start of the next hour. Lord Monckton, that's a long preface intro. But, I tell you, they just think they're anointed, and they think their authoritarianism doesn't stink. What do you say, Lord Monckton, one of the leading experts heading up your center that researches these people? All of your research has been proven correct, so now they're calling for shutting us up.
I think that puts it very bluntly and very correctly, Alex. They are running scared. If I can just review what the climate has been doing over the last few years. We've just had, literally 2 days ago, figures from the Hadley Centre and the Climatic Research Unit at the University of East Anglia. These people have now admitted that there's been no statistically significant global warming for 15 years. Likewise, the most accurate sea level satellite that we have had up there for a few years is the Aviso Envisat satellite. That shows sea level over the last 8 years since that satellite first went up, rising at a rate of equivalent to 1.3 inches per century. The Florida State University's index of the activity of hurricanes, tropical cyclones and typhoons around the world, that shows the lowest level of hurricane activity in 30 years since the satellites were first watching. The sea ice extent just today is greater for this time of year than it has been at almost any time since the 1979, when again the satellites were first able to watch, and the spring has come a month late up there. It's very, very cold up there. That's why we've had it warm down here. So all their big storylines about how terrible it's all going to be are falling apart. Polar bears, another one, just today, an important report out showing that the population of polar bears continues to grow as it has since the 1940s. This is not the profile of a species in imminent threat of extinction.
Well, they're actually a scourge, as you know, invading green areas and attacking people and invading their homes.
Absolutely. They're now becoming very aggressive and intrusive because there are so many of them and they can't get enough food in these very, very cold conditions, unusually cold conditions in the Arctic. So they increasingly invade the human settlements in Greenland and Canada. So these are the actual realities of the climate, and it is quite clear that what they predicted would happen isn't happening. And in fact, if we look back on this now, Alex, you and I have been at this for some time, but the UN's climate panel, the IPCC, produced its first report in 1990, and that, of course, is a generation ago. So shall we have a look at how their prediction of global temperature has got on? They gave a high-end, a medium-end, and a low-end prediction. And yes, there has been warming since 1990, but not very much. It's actually below even the low-end prediction of the IPCC. They've got every single forecast that they've ever done wrong. Every single one of these forecasts was exaggerated.
Plus the studies I've seen that you've covered, and you're listing real facts here. They'll just say peer-reviewed, but you have admitted facts. They're not denying it. A little bit of warming is actually good. Plus this gaggle of nuts said that we were going to be in an ice age by the 90s back in the 70s.
That's right. So what they want to do is they know they can get grants and attention and grow their little bureaucratic empires and academic empires by pretending there's a problem. It doesn't matter which direction the problem they pretend is, as long as they can all agree on telling the same story. Well, first of all, they tried to tell the story of global cooling, whereupon global warming began. Then the global warming stopped. And they can't change gear. They can't go back to global cooling or everybody will laugh at them. They can't pretend that global warming is happening because for 15 years, on their own figures, on the figures of the cheerleaders for this whole scare, it isn't happening. And so now they're increasingly forced back onto these rather desperate expedients, one of which, we'll come on to Norgard in just a minute. I want to do one more before that. I came across this when I was addressing the Law Society of Ireland in Galway a few weeks ago. They produced a graph, you'll see it on the left-wing websites too, showing there have been many periods over the last 150 years since we kept global temperature records, when there's been 10 or 15 years without any global warming, like the last 10 or 15 years. Now, of course, what they don't realise when they show that that is the case is that the fact exercises a very great constraint on the rate at which warming is occurring or could occur. So yes, we are getting a little warming. You'd expect to see a little warming over the long term if you add lots of CO2 to the atmosphere. But the point is, it's not going to be very much. It's not going to be alarming. And even if it was, as I said to the California state legislature just a week ago, it's, in their case, it's about 30 times cheaper to sit back, go surfing and enjoy the sunshine and adapt to the adverse consequences of any warming than it is to follow policies like California's Bill AB 32 and build all those windmills in the Altamont Pass to kill all the golden eagles and hawks and kites that they're killing by the thousand every year. These are environmentally damaging projects, but the fact is it's vastly cheaper, even if the warming was going to be as bad as they say it is, to do nothing. And that brings me on to Professor Norgard. And I'm sorry that I, too, have kind of come crabwise around the subject, because I wanted to put what she is saying into context. What you have just heard from me, Alex, is not something insane. I have merely cited data and fact, after data, after fact, and graphs and charts and equations and figures, all of which you can verify, you can check, I'm not making them up. So why, in any rational world where free speech was allowed, would I not be allowed to tell the truth? And would I instead be accused of being some kind of a nutter? And this, after all, and let's be very blunt about this is what they used to do in Nazi Germany and in Stalin's Russia. If they didn't like your point of view, then what they did was they said, right, we're going to send you away to the Gulag to be re-educated, because you are suffering from a mental illness, the mental illness of not agreeing with the totalitarian dictatorial...
And let me just add, it's not just her. I mean, there are so many of them, when I went back and looked last night, who say re-educate, arrest, drug, that she's just going along with what is standard when she says, treat us. I mean, they're calling for an authoritarianism. Al Gore is saying they've got to force it on us now. He said that 2 weeks ago in Austin. It's South by Southwest.
I think this is it. They are terrified now that because the facts, the actual unfolding climate, is not happening as they and those whom they have been quoting said it would. They are now terrified, and so they're trying to do what is always done by the left in these circumstances, to shout down any opposition with threats of arrest and international climate courts. If you go back to the Durban Climate Conference just last December, the UN's conference there, the members of all the world's nations were there. The only person who revealed that in that major negotiating document was a proposal to establish an international climate court to which only Western people could be brought in front of was me. The rest of the world's journalists were silent about it because they're beginning to become embarrassed.
And by the way, they had a police officer attack you for no reason on video, at the Copenhagen event.
That was very stupid of him, because my back was turned to him at the time and I was walking away. So that was silly too. And he had lost his temper because he'd been listening to me talking with my mates. I wasn't even talking to him about the climate for 3 hours, because so badly organized was it. We were left standing in this bitter sub-zero cold.
But he showed you how to, again, shut him up. How dare you have free speech? Bam!
So I was knocked to the ground, and he said, you're one of the nastiest people I've ever come across. And I said, I haven't even talked to you. I was talking very friendly way to my friends, but that's the way it is now. You see, these people, Alex, don't have religion. They don't believe in anything until now. Now they've got religion, or in fact, superstition, of course, a superstition being a religion that you can prove isn't true. And they've got superstition. They don't realize